Yo, I'm Ash the Kid, and today we are doing my 3x3 on games that define me. Now, these aren't necessarily my favorite games now. These are the games that are most memorable to me throughout my childhood and stood out to me the most and consumed most of my time growing up. So without further ado, let's start with my number one and my first ever game that I ever played, I think, Pokemon Emerald. What can I say about Pokemon Emerald? If you haven't played this game, what are you doing? And if you have, you probably know why it's on here. To me, this is the Pokemon game that changed Pokemon. It was such a fun adventure playing this as a kid. I remember being stuck on literally the start of the game when the dude doesn't let you in to go towards Petalburg City because all you needed to do after battling your rival, which was made for me, you had to go back to the Professor Birch's office. I didn't know that, so I thought I was stuck, and poor 6-year-old me thought that was it for the game. When I discovered that you had to go to Professor Birch's lab, that was one of the best feelings of my life. Great Pokemon, great music, great world. Hoenn is probably my favorite. It's very close between Gen 3 and Gen 4, but Emerald obviously being the best Hoenn game, having the Battle Frontier as well. Something about the game is just magical, but had to be on this list, and I'd love to stream it and do maybe a Kaiser run sometime. Game number 2, no pun intended, Borderlands 2. I have never been so hyped for a game as much as Borderlands 2. This game had a trailer called the Doomsday trailer. If you know, you know.
We're gonna need a lot of guns.
I remember watching this every single day up to launch, literally every single day. And it has the song Doomsday by Nero playing in it. And my mind was just blown at how much of a step up this was from Borderlands 1, just by the visuals and the guns, the design. Because I remember playing Borderlands 1 because a friend from school would talk about Borderlands. I remember seeing Borderlands 1 on the shelf, like the Game of the Year edition, thinking it was some party game. It never appealed to me. And then I actually looked up gameplay and saw the Borderlands 2 Doomsday trailer, and I was just hooked. I was like, this game is awesome. The art style, having that comic 3D look, beautiful. Gameplay, great. Story, great. Handsome Jack as a villain, awesome. The amount of weapons was cool. I just had so many good memories playing this game with my friends. A lot of funny moments. Definitely deserves to be in my 3x3 of games that define me because it's just a great game, and I would probably put it in my top 5 games of all time outside of this list. So great game, Borderlands 2. Game number 3, Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. So this was, I believe, not my first Sonic game, but the Sonic game I spent the most time on. Didn't play the original Sonic Riders. This was my first exposure to it, and I had it on the PS2. And I remember playing this game casually, like at first, didn't really focus on the story, just like did the races. And then out of nowhere, I just really got into it and completed the story, which I gotta do sometime because I was very young when I did it. But this is one of those games that I was like hooked. I just had like a phase of playing this non-stop. Really, really cool controls. Can't really explain it, but it's like the gravity system is like really cool on what you can do. Good cast of characters, great maps to race on, and really cool how like a racing game had a awesome story that was quite dark. In fact, I've always been a fan of Sonic, and I'm surprised I haven't really gone into the franchise as much as I'd like to. So I should probably play through that game on this channel or stream it. So we'll see about that. Number 4, we have the greatest COD of all time, Black Ops 2. What can I say about Black Ops 2? It was the time to be a COD player, the best time. Everything was hype, great weapons, great maps, one of the best zombies ever. The trailer, the future is black. This game was peak, and the DLC, peak. Absolute cinema. Great campaign that introduced different decisions with different endings for a Call of Duty game. back then how it was so futuristic, and now that we're actually in the year 2025 is insane. It was just a really good time. I spent the most time on this Call of Duty. I just remember carrying the leaderboard, MSMC, silence, dual mag. Very, very good times, and I hope for a remaster someday. I know there's plutonium out there, but we'll see. Call of Duty ain't doing too good right now. Game number 5, we have Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Now, this might not be the best Smash Brothers in terms of competitive play, and probably a lot of people's least favorite, but for me, it is the most memorable one. Playing this on the Wii was some of the most fun I've ever had. I think I've spent 30% of the game just listening to the music from all the arenas. Great line of characters, and can I just mention Subspace oh my god, how do I say it? Emiseries. The Subspace Emissary. That was so well done for like a story mode in a Smash Bros game. I was so invested in that. All the cutscenes were really great. It was also kind of like scary with the stuff with Lucas and Ness. Great game. Meta Knight broken as hell. I loved playing that character. And yeah, it was just a really, really fun time to be playing Smash Bros. Game number 6. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi. Now, this was actually my first exposure to Dragon Ball, I'm pretty sure. I never really watched Dragon Ball growing up. It'd always be like an episode popped up somewhere and I'd see it. That was my only exposure to Dragon Ball. So I played the game before watching the show or knowing anything of it, and it was so cool. Seeing these characters with spiky hair, all the villains, the fighting was great, the powers. When I first figured out how to do the final like attack, which was on the PS2, triangle L1 and down, or L2, one of the L buttons, or R. And I remember figuring that out for the first time, and my mind was blown. Like, every character has a final move. Frieza with the death beam, Goku with the spirit bomb. It was just the best. There was also like some battles where you had to survive, and I remember I was like struggling versing Fat Majin Buu, and I'd like ask my dad to help because I remember I was like crying, but I remember actually doing it myself and I was like so proud of it. Now, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is probably the better game, and I spent a lot of time on that too. This being my first exposure to like Dragon Ball, all the characters that were in it, this has to be on this list. So if you haven't played this game, I mean, you might as well play Sparking Zero at this point, but if you've got a PS2 and you can find a copy, play it. The soundtrack is really good as well. Number 7, Super Mario Galaxy! The best Mario game of all time. Hands down, no debate, no comment. Yes, there are great Mario games out there, but Mario Galaxy did something special. Do you remember seeing the trailer for this game when it was like on the TV? No one saw anything like this, especially for a Mario game. Mario Galaxy redefined Mario and probably all platformers. Some say Astro Bot is Mario Galaxy 3 and that won Game of the Year. So many unique world designs, an amazing soundtrack, an emotional story. It was mwah. I remember playing Galaxies over and over and over again because it was just endless fun. It would never get old. You had the Comet Stars to collect. You had special stars. It was great. And Mario Galaxy 2, just as good, if not better at times. Mario Galaxy 1 as a whole, special place in my heart. Loop-de-Loop Galaxy, best galaxy of all time. I had so much fun playing that. It deserves to be on here and probably my top 5 or 10 games of all time. Number 8. Now, I don't know if a lot of you have heard of this game, but we got War of the Monsters. I was always a sucker for like Godzilla or like giant monsters. It just was so cool, like smashing buildings and throwing things. I just thought it was awesome. And I remember picking this up. You got like 12 monsters to choose from, and you unlock, I think, 2 extras included. Really cool maps. Every map had like a theme and like a destruction. Like one map had like a wave that destroys the whole city. As you can see the picture there, you got Ultra V, which is like this mecha robot, and he has like a sword, and every monster has their own special move too. But it also had a story mode as well. And I remember like actually attempting that because I was like so scared to play it. Got to the final boss, one of the coolest boss fights ever, and I remember just replaying that boss fight over and over again. It was quite a challenge, but yeah, really good game. I was either going to put this or Godzilla Save the Earth. Love Godzilla, love all the kaijus. I think they're really cool. It's a really fun game. I think it's actually on PlayStation Plus, so definitely check it out. And game number 9, last but not least, this one was hard to decide. I actually put Mario Super Circuit from Game Boy Advance instead previously, but I had to really think about it. Age of Mythology was like my first PC game that I played, and it was funny because I remember my friends from school were talking about this game called Age of Mythology, and I'd played or seen Age of Empires like at a friend's house, and it was weird because I'm like, damn, I want to play this game, but like I don't have it. I didn't know how like buying computer games worked. And then randomly in my garage, I had this giant box. I think I mentioned it to my mom or something. And it was like this game, Age of Mythology, special edition with like the soundtrack and like a figure of like a Minotaur. And apparently I got it as a birthday gift years back. And I'm just like, wait, I own this game? And I didn't even know about it. So that was like a really cool and memorable moment for me. And this game was really fun. Just battling through the different mythologies, different armies, and I remember there were like cheat codes where you could have like natural disasters like lightning and tornadoes and earthquakes. You could like create your own like war, and I used to just spam like frost giants. Yeah, it was just really fun, and it was like the first kind of PC game I properly played because I had like a home family PC, it wasn't a gaming one, but it could run this and it was on like disc. So really, really, really cool. That's my 9 games that define me. If I'd say some honorable mentions, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, just as good as Emerald in my opinion. Same as Pokemon Blue and Pokemon Gold. I played them after when I started to like get into like more retro Pokemon. I'd say Diamond and Pearl, Heart Gold, they were great Pokemon games as well, but Emerald had to be the one that took it. I didn't want to do like 2 of the same games from the franchise. I think that's everything. Let me know what you think of my 3x3 of games that define me. Any of these games that you spend a lot of time through your childhood or mean something to you, let me know in the comments. I love this sort of content, and I hope to do a similar type of video going over my favorite games of all time. I have a massive game catalog that I'm getting through, so I don't know if it deserves to be made just yet. I might do movies or anime next. I think that'd be really cool. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.